Help me, I'm Amanda Berry. I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years and I'm here, I'm free now.
What if someone you knew was missing for years, yet living just a few streets away the entire time? How does a quiet neighborhood hide a secret like that in plain sight? And how does an ordinary house become the center of a decade-long nightmare without anyone realizing? In Cleveland, a shocking discovery in May 2013 revealed exactly that kind of reality. 3 young women, long believed to be gone forever, were found alive after years of silence. Their survival story uncovered something far darker than anyone had imagined, showing how easily life outside can continue while unimaginable suffering happens just behind closed doors. What followed was not just a rescue story, but a deep look into fear, control, and endurance that lasted for years before finally breaking free. Back in early May 2013, the city of Cleveland was shaken by a discovery that no one expected. What began as a simple emergency call quickly turned into one of the most disturbing cases in recent memory. 3 missing women had been found alive inside a house that looked completely ordinary from the outside. The shock was not only that they were alive, but that they had been held there for so long without anyone knowing. Amanda Berry, Gina De Jesus, and Michelle Knight had each disappeared years earlier under different circumstances. Families searched endlessly. Posters were shared across the city. News reports kept their names alive, but over time, hope faded. Felt like they had simply vanished. But the truth was far more disturbing. They had not disappeared at all. They had been trapped inside a home just like any other, hidden in plain sight. The man responsible was Ariel Castro, someone who appeared normal to neighbors. He had once worked as a school bus driver, a job that gave him access to trust and routine. No one imagined the life he was secretly controlling behind closed doors. Each woman's story began separately, long before they ever met. Michelle Knight faced a difficult childhood filled with instability and abuse. Her early life was marked by emotional hardship and trauma that pushed her into adulthood too quickly. She became a mother at a young age and tried to build stability, but her circumstances continued to fall apart. At one point, she was trying to regain custody of her son after a tragic incident involving a family member. She was determined to attend a court appointment that could help her rebuild her life. That day, confusion over directions led her to ask for help. Someone she believed she recognized offered assistance, and in that moment, everything changed. Instead of reaching her destination, she was taken somewhere she could not leave. What seemed like a simple act of help turned into the beginning of years of confinement. Amanda Berry's disappearance happened in a similar way. She was returning home when she accepted a ride from someone she thought was safe. That decision led her directly into captivity. Gina De Jesus also vanished after an encounter that appeared harmless at first but quickly turned into something terrifying. Over time, all 3 women ended up in the same house, though not at the same moment. The reality of their situation slowly became clear to them. They were not just missing, they were being held. Inside the house, life followed strict control. The outside world disappeared completely. There were no phones, no freedom, and no contact with family. Time lost meaning. Days blended together. The captor controlled everything, from movement to communication, creating an environment built entirely on fear and obedience. At first, each woman experienced confusion and shock, but over time survival became their only focus. They learned to adapt to their environment, avoid conflict.
For a long time. And then he starts undressing himself. And he ripped up my son's picture right in front of me.
And endure constant pressure under complete control and isolation. Amanda Berry eventually realized a life-changing truth. She was not alone. Gina De Jesus and Michelle Knight were also being held inside the same house. That discovery changed everything. They were no longer isolated in separate suffering but trapped together in the same nightmare, sharing invisible prison walls. From that point, their experience shifted. Although the danger and control remained, the presence of one another created quiet strength. They could not openly resist their captor, but they supported each other through small gestures, brief conversations when possible, and silent understanding. These moments became emotional lifelines, helping them endure the psychological weight of captivity. Outside, their families never stopped searching. Amanda Berry's mother frequently appeared on television, pleading for information and holding on to hope. The community remembered them too, even as posters faded and headlines moved on. Over time, the case grew cold, leads disappeared, and uncertainty replaced urgency. But their families never gave up. Inside the house, strict control continued through fear and intimidation. Isolation was absolute, and survival depended on silence, obedience, and constant awareness. Time inside that environment lost its normal meaning. Days and nights blended together, and life became a repetitive cycle of restriction. In such conditions, even small changes carried heavy emotional weight. The women learned to adapt in ways that allowed them to survive mentally as much as physically. They developed unspoken routines and quiet understanding, relying on each other more as time went on. Despite the extreme control, life inside the house was not entirely without change. One of the most significant moments occurred when Amanda Berry gave birth to a child while still in captivity. This event shifted the atmosphere inside the house in unexpected ways. It introduced a new presence into a world that had been defined entirely by fear and control. The child grew up inside that environment, completely unaware of the outside world. For the women, this brought both emotional complexity and a strange sense of responsibility. Even in captivity, life continued in an unexpected form. The presence of a child added a new layer to an already complicated existence, changing routines and interactions in subtle but meaningful ways. Through all of this, the outside world remained unaware of what was truly happening behind the walls. The contrast between the normal life outside and the hidden reality inside the house could not have been greater. One world moved forward freely, while the other remained frozen in fear and control. This separation continued for years, until the moment everything eventually changed. Even in such an environment, small changes began to appear over time. The presence of a child led to occasional exposure to external situations, slightly altering routines. Though minor, these shifts later became significant. Years passed with no clear end. The outside world kept searching, while inside the house, survival remained the only goal. In May 2013, everything changed when Amanda Berry seized a moment to call for help. Neighbors responded, and emergency services arrived, discovering 3 women alive after nearly a decade. The captor was arrested immediately, and the hidden suffering was exposed. The city was stunned that this occurred in a normal neighborhood. After freedom, recovery was difficult, with deep trauma requiring slow adjustment to everyday life. Support from family, counselors, and the community played a major role in helping them rebuild their lives. Each woman responded differently, but all shared the challenge of adjusting to a world that had moved on without them. Michelle Knight, in particular, faced a long road to recovery. Her early life struggles, combined with years of captivity, made her journey especially difficult. But over time, she began to speak about her experiences, focusing on survival and strength rather than victimhood. Amanda Berry also worked to reconnect with her family and rebuild her life. The emotional reunion with loved ones was one of the most powerful moments after rescue. Gina De Jesus similarly began the process of healing, supported by her family and community. Their story became widely known, not just because of what happened, but because of how they survived. It highlighted the strength of human endurance under extreme conditions and the importance of never giving up hope. At the same time, it raised difficult questions. How could 3 women disappear in the same city and remain undiscovered for so long? How could an ordinary house hide such a reality? And what signs, if any, were missed along the way? These questions continue to be discussed even today. The case became a reminder of the importance of awareness and vigilance in communities, showing that even familiar places can hide unseen realities. Over time, the women began sharing their experiences publicly, not to relive pain but to reclaim their voices. Their message focused on survival, strength, and hope in the darkest circumstances. Their journey did not end with rescue. It continued through recovery, healing, and rebuilding identity after years of control. Life had to be rebuilt step by step, from basic independence to emotional healing. Today, Their story stands as one of the most powerful survival cases in modern history, proving that even after long silence and darkness, truth can emerge and life can begin again. And most importantly, it shows that survival is not just about escaping a situation, but about finding strength to live beyond it. If this story moved you and you want more real-life stories like this explained in a simple and powerful way, make sure to subscribe for more deep, human stories that uncover the truth behind the world's most shocking events.